year.
I don't care if it's 1 billionth of a cent. It's too much. It's stupid. No.
Exact. I was going to get to that point. And now what this does, though.
You got angry before you did.
Yeah. No, get angry. This is the thing to get angry about. But what this does, though, is it seeks to fund a number of things that the state wants to do with roads. All right. So what they want to do, they want to allocate 30% to reducing wildlife-related crashes. So they want to construct underpasses underneath the roads so that the deer can go through the underpass. Though
I thought they were doing those little bridge over vegetated things.
They're doing some of those, but these are also like underpasses here.
I'm not really mad about those, but the way they do this funding is they gouge us again with some kind of nonsense. I'm tired of it, man. Look.
Well, here's the next thing. I got to interrupt you. 70% allocated to enhancing cyclist and pedestrian safety. Now, we had a bill
on the highway.
Yeah, get off the
increase. I-25. I don't know. It's extra safe for the bicyclist.
From Olympic City and the home of Pikes Peak, this is the Automotive ADHD Show with Matt West.
Yes, it is. Got a loaded show for you today. Jim Miller joins me coming up here in just a few minutes to talk about yet another tax being imposed on our car insurance. Yes, aren't cars, by the way, expensive enough as is? We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about those who want the cars to be more expensive for you. Also, we're going to discuss a $69,000 AE86. Yeah, that's on the way. And one Ford truck in particular might be out to actually kill you. Like, it genuinely wants to kill you. I mean, we're going to get to all of that. We are going to get to your car sounds and more. Send those car sounds into my show. Be featured on the show. Facebook.com/Automotive ADHD is the place to do it. Now, I've had a tremendously busy week leading up till now. In fact, if anything, you'll have noticed on the YouTube and the Facebook and the Spotify, I've been a little slower posting stuff because I've been on the road in Chicago. I was doing some work for my day job out of AM 560 The Answer in Chicago, our Salem media colleagues up there in the Windy City. By the way, they have the coolest call letters ever. WIND is the station call sign. Like, that's cool. That's cool. I love it. But while I was out there in Chicago, I flew out. My flight got delayed significantly. So I was supposed to leave at 6:30 on Monday evening, and I didn't. Sunday. Yeah, I left Sunday. That's right. Man, the week flew by. Anyway, I was supposed to leave at like 6:30 and then get to Chicago sometime around 9 o'clock because you got an hour time difference there. I didn't get to Chicago and check into my hotel until after actually 4 in the morning. It was almost 4:30 in the morning that I get to Chicago, check into my hotel just to sleep a little bit. Well, really, you couldn't call it sleep, I would say, before an 8 a.m. meeting. And having said that, though, it got me thinking because I went to, and this surprised me, and I promise this has an automotive tie-in to it, but this really surprised me, which is normally if I travel for work, I can typically get an Uber anywhere I'm at, even if it's kind of late. Now, what surprised me was that I got to, when I got to the airport, Chicago O'Hare Airport, and it's, like the biggest international airport in the country, allegedly. And I sure thought that at, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, when my plane actually landed, that I would be able to get an Uber. Boy, was I wrong, because it took a whole nother hour to get an Uber in Chicago, of all places. And then an Uber comes by and picks me up, and it's a boring Toyota Prius. Nothing interesting. It's like a 15-year-old Toyota Prius, but it's driven by a Korean guy who was hilarious, by the way. I will say that. I gave this dude like 5 stars. If I could have given him 6 stars, I would have. I don't know how this guy was so funny at basically 4 in the morning. I don't know how he did it. Now, I can't tell you why he was funny, because then the FCC would probably revoke the license of this radio station. But let me tell you, this Korean guy, He was like a stand-up comic, an older Korean guy. And there was a certain word in the English lexicon that rhymes with truck, but doesn't start with TR. You can probably guess which one. That was like his favorite word. His favorite. He's speaking this broken English with a heavy Korean accent, and he's utilizing this English word that I can't say because this is a radio show and I'm regulated by the FCC. Now, if this were a podcast, maybe I could tell you some of the jokes he said. But having said that, this dude was tremendously funny, which made up for the fact that the car was pretty boring. Now, I know if you're getting an Uber, you're not expecting an interesting car. If anything, you're just like me, getting in on a flight that got delayed by many, many hours, because I guess people don't want to work as air traffic controllers anymore. They've got a problem with that right now. People don't want to do that. But anyway, you just want to get to where you're going. And frankly, at this time in the wee hours of the morning, I couldn't care what picked me up as long as it ran and drove and got me to my hotel where I could lay down for a few minutes. But you know why? It has me wondering, right? When you go on the Uber app, and I'll do it right here on the air. Let me pull up my Uber account, and they give you different options. Okay, so let's pull up Uber here. And now I know you could use Lyft as well, but I'm pretty bought into the Uber ecosystem at this point. And it's like I don't want to like set up a whole nother account. It's a pain to do that. But if I go here and I go look for rides, all right, let's look at rides. Where to? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to pick a random location here in Colorado Springs. Let's say Pikes Peak. Ooh, no. How about Pikes Peak International Raceway? How about that? Let's put that in here. And will it let me actually do it? Pikes Peak International Raceway. Okay, here we go. This is, all right. How long is the ride to PPIR? And I do like PPIR. Racetracks are good. We need to support our local racetracks. They're not a sponsor, but they should be a sponsor of my show. If you're listening at PPIR, let's talk. Let's get more people to the racetrack. And by the way, now that my S2000, which if you're watching on the video, you can see it behind me with a K-Series under the hood that actually runs and droves. I drove it this week. That's a different story. I drove it when I got back. But okay, Uber gives me a couple of options here. We've got Comfort. We've got Uber X. And I'll read the descriptions on these. So Comfort, newer cars with extra legroom. Uber X, affordable rides, all to yourself. Uber X Priority, affordable rides, all to yourself. Again, but priority. Uber XL, affordable rides for groups up to 6. And also if you've got a lot of like baggage and equipment. Sometimes when I travel for my day job, I'm traveling with a lot of broadcasting equipment, and it's heavy, and it's in a bunch of big Pelican cases. So, we've also got Uber Economy for you and your pet. Uber Economy Pet Edition. Uber XXL with extra legroom. That's probably like the American, that's only a double XL. I think American would actually be a triple XL. But anyway, so we've got all of these options, and what are we missing from here? And one thing, because I'm in the Springs, there's fewer options here, but there are also, when I'm in bigger cities, options for Uber EV, Uber Quiet, stuff like that. And what I want to know is why, when I pull up Uber, is there not Uber crusty, rusty drift car Toyota thing that probably runs sometimes? I want that as an option, like drift taxi. Like, why can't I get an Uber for some rusty, crusty Toyota with like bucket seats and harnesses in it? That's not an option. Now, sure, some people probably have supercars, and I've seen social media influencers, I'm going to go pick up someone for Uber in my McLaren. Yeah, that's cool and all. But why would I want a McLaren when I could be picked up in a JZX 90 Chaser with the bumper falling off of it? I mean, this is the sort of experience that I'm looking for in an Uber. I know that at 4 a.m, I just want to get to my hotel. But all other times of the day, I want to be picked up from the airport in something that's loud, something that's got a big single turbo, maybe no wastegate. We're going no wastegate on this. We're just doing like an anti-surge turbo. The thing's loud as hell. And it is noisy and it smells like burning oil. And the driver won't actually shut it off when he comes to pick you up in your bags because he knows it won't start again if he turns it off. It's like, this is the premium experience. I want to feel like I'm at home when I'm on the road, right? It's all about accommodating the customer. It's a sense of hospitality. And that's the sort of experience that I have when I try to drive, I don't know, the S2000 or, well, the 86 now is not driving because it doesn't have an engine that runs in it. It's got a different engine, doesn't run though. That's the experience I have at home. And I think that Uber really could be onto something here if they did this. And maybe even Jim Miller could be a part of this with his crusty Toyota collection. He could, I don't know, take you to the airport in a falling apart Toyota Crown. But it has fender mirrors, so that's good. So anyway, Uber, if you're listening, this is a business idea. We should talk. We should make this happen. We should make this a reality. There's at least one other nut out there like me who would buy into this. So I'm sure it'll make you a ton of money. Don't go anywhere. Jim Miller is up next on Automotive ADHD.
Some call him the Toyota God. Others say he ran for mayor.
Introduce you to the candidates running for mayor. So today it's Jim Miller.
One of your priorities that you've laid out is fixing the roads in Colorado Springs.
Jim Miller.
Mr. Miller, you also have 30 seconds.
That was Jim Miller, just a guy.
All we know is he's just a guy with more cars than friends. Jim Miller is on Automotive ADHD.
So, Jim, do you think we need to change the intro now to also include ran for city council in there?
You can just write political contender or a man who hates politicians and politics.
There we go. We'll put that in the intro there. You're listening to the Automotive ADHD show. Matt West here, hanging out with Jim Miller. And we got a couple of things I want to get to here. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about a new fee allegedly coming to insurance costs here in Colorado. And I'm going to say fee in air quotes because it's really a tax. But I want to discuss something before we do that. Jim, you were showing me this in the break here.
Oh, yeah.
There is an AE86 for sale. And I don't know if this is necessarily the most expensive one for sale, but this is a pricey one. How much is this one?
It's $69,900. It's on Hemmings. Hemmings cars.
What was that price again?
$69,900.
Nice. I actually asked that just so I could say nice, but
nice that you wanted to say nice.
Yeah, nice.
Sweet.
So $69,000 for an AE86. Now, you own an AE86 several. I now only own one, mostly because I sold my other one to you.
Yeah, what's up?
So, yeah, you're like hoarding all the AE86s. And as both AE86 owners, I think we understand how terrible and crusty these cars are because, people get this hype, this notion, initial D, this and that, and they think these cars are either really nice or for some reason people think they're fast, which I think that's drinking a lot of Kool-Aid right there to think that they're fast because they're not.
They rev out. Let's not lie. They do rev out like a motorcycle kind of because they can rev pretty high, and it sounds like you're trying to do something. But let's not lie. You're not getting a lot of speeding tickets driving an A86, man. Not once have I gotten pulled over in my A86. I have.
Oh man,
I look suspicious though. It's usually, did you steal this? And I'm like, what?
Well, that's because do you have your key here?
Yeah.
Do you have your key? If you're watching on video, YouTube, so. Facebook, and Rumble,
I don't know.
You don't have it here?
I think it's in the.
Yeah, it's because your key is a screwdriver. Except, so when they walk up to the window and they see the screwdriver in the ignition.
Even before that, though, I mean.
Now I should clarify: it's an actual key, but it's a real key, but it's got a screwdriver handle as a joke on it.
It's fine, just fine.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, a $70,000 A86, and let's see it's on Hemmings, so you can look it up. Where's this at? Farmingdale, New York. Who's the seller here? It's a manual. It's a hatch. It's a black and white one.
So it's a Panda. Okay. By the way, for my listeners, it's probably more so on radio.
MotorCarClassics.com.
Motorcar Classics.
That's who's selling it.
I imagine I find more of my radio listeners are more kind of old school muscle car guys, while my podcast listeners are kind of JDM nuts. So for the muscle car guys out there, this is basically a Corolla. Okay,
this was a secretary's car back in the day. Honestly, this is so your wife could go to work in the 80s. And you not spend a bunch of money on fuel.
It is rear wheel drive. The higher trim versions of these cars had twin cam 4-bangers that revved out pretty nice, and they got really popular for drifting. These cars, if anything,
good balanced little vehicles. Yeah.
Well, if anything, historically, they're recognized as kind of being there at the genesis of drifting when that became a sport. Did they start drifting? No, but it's argued that one of the guys who really pioneered it drove one of these. So anyway, there's a bunch of hype on these. It was in a Chinese cartoon, anime. Definitely a Chinese cartoon, but. So people ask a little too much money for them.
From Japan.
I know.
China.
So
I don't like the cartoon. I tried to watch it. I was like, man, this is like 10 episodes for a 2-minute run down a hill. This is ridiculous. I mean, the drawings are nice. Don't get me wrong, but you're just like, I know it's based on dude, but still. Man.
Allegedly it's based on a real story with some creative liberty somewhere in there. Actually, a lot of creative liberty, very loosely. But I will credit the show for getting all the car sounds right. Like when you hear like the sounds, I'm all about car sounds. People send their car sounds into my show.
There's no burnouts on asphalt in the gravel where you're like,
right,
and it's on the gravel and you're all, what? You can't
but the Japanese in that show are also really particular about it. So like all the car sounds, if it's a 4A GE, they recorded a 4A GE.
The rotaries are rotaries.
The rotaries are rotary. Like they got that on point, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, the 350Z sound like dying trumpets. Yeah.
Or Chewbacca. Sounds like Chewbacca. That's what they sound like. Having said all of that, this one's $69,000. Enlighten me as to why it's $69,000.
I don't know. There's probably some dumb out there that'll buy it because they want to look cool or say that they did.
Is it stock or is it modified? Typically, the museum stock ones go for these big numbers.
It looks pretty original. The photo gallery. Let's see what's in this photo gallery here. 42 pictures. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pictures.
Wow, they want $69,000 for it.
There's a cage in the back. It looks like.
All right. Is it a stock engine? Is it a 4A? Is it swapped?
Stock. Those look like fiberglass front fenders. That looks like a carbon fiber hood.
So it's gotta have a motor swap then, and even then
it might. Let's see here.
I don't see
got that old Welltail hatchy wing on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, it don't look so stunk inside, honestly.
Wow. So we're at the point here now. Here, let me see. It's
caged and seated. I just pushed the big pull. Look at all the pictures. You can scroll up and down.
Yeah. So we're at the point here, though, where modified AE86s. Oh, that's a Honda gauge cluster in there out of an S2000. Hold on.
So let's keep
looking. Wait, scrolling down. That's an F-Series out of an S2000 in there. Probably explains the S2000 gauge cluster.
Gotcha. There you go.
Okay, F-Series swapped.
This is our first time looking at the pictures together.
Look, just adding some commentary on this. I have come across many F-Series swapped AE86 and some nice ones, actually.
Yeah.
It's not $69,000 though. It's just not. The ones
ridiculous.
The ones where I've seen stupid money for these cars. Remember, this is a Corolla. That's what it is. Okay, it's a Corolla with some history and some heritage, and it was in a cartoon, so people want to pay more for it. But it's
stupid overrated though at this point. For a guy that's all about the Yoda stuff for that era, that stuff's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and so I can't. $69,000. That's crazy to me because.
It's a swapped vehicle.
It's a swapped. If anything, the ones that fetch big money that I see, here's your
all
phone.
Original.
They're like all original. They're museum quality. They're 40, 50, 60 grand.
Dude's wife only drove it once to the office because she didn't like working around other people.
She was remote work before it was a thing.
Henrietta was too much on the typewriter next to her. She's like, this is ridiculous. This is 1985. I don't need to deal with this.
Oh, man. So, all right. We went a little long on that, but I felt like it was worth it. Let me know in the comments on the video on this YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Rumble.
Look at it. Go
check it out. Let me know, would you pay $69,000 for that car? I would say,
mind you, in 1985, that would have bought you a pretty decent house. 70 grand would have bought you a pretty decent house in 85.
You know, when you put it like that, house or F-swapped AE86. Now, granted, you know what they say? You can live in a car, but you can't race a house.
Yeah.
Just, by the way, next time your wife or your fiance gets on you for buying car parts,
you can get a
use that one.
Though.
Yeah.
You can get a motorhome.
You could race a motorhome, in all fairness. You remember the old Top Gear days where they did like the motorhome races?
When Top Gear was good, yeah.
Yeah, when Top Gear was good. So, all right, we'll carry this over into another segment here because I want to touch on this.
What do we got?
But this is a new tax, as I'm calling it. They're calling it a fee. But this is coming to Colorado, and it is a bill that's being proposed to add a $3 fee to your insurance. They say per year. This is $3 per vehicle per year.
I don't care if it's 1 billionth of a cent. It's too much and it's stupid. No.
Exact. I was going to get to that point. And now what this does, though.
I got angry before you did.
Yeah. No, get angry. This is the thing to get angry about. But what this does, though, is it seeks to fund a number of things that the state wants to do with roads. All right. So what they want to do, they want to allocate 30% to reducing wildlife-related crashes. So they want to construct underpasses underneath the roads so that the deer can go through the underpass. Though
I thought they were doing this little bridge over vegetated things.
They're doing some of those, but these are also like underpasses here.
I'm not really mad about those, but the way they do this funding is they gouge us again with some kind of nonsense. I'm tired of it, man. Look.
Well, here's the next thing. I got to interrupt you. 70% allocated to enhancing cyclist and pedestrian safety. Now, we had a bill
on the highway.
Yeah, get off the
increase 25. I don't know. It's extra safe for the bicyclist.
Yeah, you want to be safe. Yeah, get off the highway. But they had a bill like a month or two ago, and I actually went on the Peak News radio show heard here on AM 1460 The Answer, and I talked about this bill. Now, it didn't make it through. This bill died, but it was yet another thing trying to increase pedestrian and cyclist safety. And that died. That went to, I don't even think it made it through committee or anything. But here's the thing. So now here they are again trying to do it. But now they are doing it through putting a fee on your insurance. Now, this isn't a tax. And now I haven't found a good answer for this.
It is a tax.
They're saying
it's a tax
that
without representation because they don't have to run it through the regular loops and all the processes. For tax.
Right. So having said that, Bill, they're saying this isn't a tax. And by saying it isn't a tax, that also means that people don't have to vote on it. Now, who's
pushing this? Is this a Governor Polis sausage puss?
Not Governor Polis sausage, but he's probably friends with him.
Senator Dick and Pooper push? Is it a bonnet?
It is Senator Dylan Roberts. He's advocating for the bill. Not clear if he's actually the sponsor on it. This article is not saying, but he's advocating for it. Dylan Roberts. Now, here's the problem. We'll get into more of this here in the next segment.
I challenged him to duels. That's it.
We were talking about that earlier. Duels.
We're going to challenge him to duels. It's a misdemeanor 1. I'm fine. Challenge him. Tell him to accept.
I think sidelining completely from this bill, but I think we should absolutely bring duels back into politics.
Yes.
I don't think this is a hot take, but I don't think this should be a hot take if it is, but we need to bring duels back.
No more. They're going to fee our insurance? No, we're good. I'll fight you.
Exactly. So, hey, you're listening to the Automotive ADHD show. We're going to touch on this a little bit more in the next segment, so don't go anywhere. I'm your host, Matt West. I'm talking with Jim Miller, just a guy. After the bottom of the hour, we're going to get to more of this right here.
I'm not going to make the same mistake. Next time, I want my money's worth.
You asked for it. Your money's worth and more. The Toyota Celica. If you can find a better built small car than Toyota, buy it. We bet you can. Toyotas are built to perform, to take it, to last. Now's the time to see how much satisfaction you can get for your money.
I'm finally going to get my money's worth. More.
Ask for it, you got it. Toyota.
Automotive ADHD with Matt West.
I love the blower noise on that. Did you hear that blower noise? You had a little bit of a whine in there?
I thought it was a supercharger, but all right.
It is. Yeah, it is supercharged.
Whatever.
And
I heard the whine.
I think all things need superchargers. Because
sounds like big gazoos.
Exactly. Oh, man. That's Jake Hines' supercharged Audi A6. I've played that one a few times because I really like it, and it sounds good. I love the blower noise on there. You're listening to the Automotive ADHD Show. Matt West here hanging out with you. Jim Miller sitting across the board from me. We were talking in the break about a insurance fee. I don't want to call
taxation
it
without representation. Again.
It's a tax. It's a tax.
Colorado, the great how can I fee you to death experiment. Gee.
And people are going, well, it's only $3 per vehicle per year.
It's always only $3 or $1 or a nickel or 10 cents. It's always this, man. I'm angry and mad now. You made me all grumpy.
Well, this should make you grumpy if you live here in Colorado. And if you listen on the podcast and you're not in Colorado, I know a large number of my audience is not in Colorado. You should still watch out for this stuff because it's probably coming to your state if it's not already there.
It's crazy. California used to be like the experiment state of like charging you to death and being weird with stuff. Now it's like Colorado is. Colorado leading the way with 6 million people in the population.
Well, and here's the thing. So Colorado ranks 5th highest in the nation for auto insurance costs. I thought we were actually higher than that, but no, we're more than 5th highest.
We're more than California, aren't we?
We're either right. We're right along there with California because, and we have. I mean, insurance in this state's really expensive. But here's my problem with this. They are saying proponents for the bill are saying that this will. And this again, Senator Dylan Roberts, he's advocating for it.
Don't like him.
He says, I don't know anything about him, but I don't like him.
Take notes of these names so we don't vote these dum-dums in again.
Yeah, he says this will create a significant reduction in wildlife collisions, especially on Highway 9, which is between Silverthorne and Kremling, which, okay, so like this one area, but you want the whole state to pay for it. But also, they say this will create significant reductions in these wildlife crashes. And as a result, they say, and this guy says, along with some other proponents of the bill, say that it will make its money back in lower insurance costs after the fact. Like there'll be less claims, therefore insurance won't cost so much. But here's the problem I have with that is a lot of Colorado, for one, lives in the cities, a whole lot. I grew up out in the country, never hit a deer, by the way. They're out there, but if you pay attention, you can see them typically.
If you open your eyes.
Yeah, if you actually just look, and if you see one deer, that means there's more deer.
There's more.
Yeah, there's more than one. There's always more than one.
They're like crooked politicians, If you see one, there's more than just one.
There's more than one. But here's my problem with this, right? Is they're saying that this will reduce insurance rates by having a reduction in wildlife crashes.
Why? Did State Farm tell him that?
Well, and here's the thing, though. Did
Geico, the lizard, come out and go, look, man, you do this and you save more geckos, Geico's insurance rates are going to go down.
Do we even have geckos?
I don't know.
No, we don't.
No,
we got those little, we got those little,
we have other lizards.
Like little the spiky toads.
Yeah.
I used to catch those when I was a kid. But the thing is that most of our insurance claims, I would argue, come from hail damage in this state, not wildlife crashes.
And they get mad at you about carports and stuff. This place is getting stupid.
Yeah, but hail damage. So now the opposition.
So what do they want to do? They want to put culverts under the ground.
Yep.
That are going to flood, probably killing animals trying to hang out in there when it does storm.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know, man. Look, I like animals. I don't want a bunch of animals to get run over and die, but this
comes by way of the Rocky Mountain Insurance Information Association. A gal named Carol Walker says, and she argues against this, saying that the fee may not lead to lower premiums, noting that pedestrian and cyclist crashes and wildlife pedestrian and cyclist crashes have a minimal impact on insurance rates in general, and citing just like what I said, it's hail damage.
It's making me think of that. Remember that video with the insurance guy with the fake bear stuff and the costume?
Oh man, we talked about that
animal, and you're like, that's a dude.
If you wanna see that, we talked about that.
Throwback a year ago, I think.
Oh, not quite a year ago, but it was a little while ago. You can find that on the podcast there.
It makes me think of animal insurance stuff, and it's the guy in the bear costume. Yeah, I scratched the Bentley with my piece of metal.
He used like a barbecue meat puller thing to like slightly scratch the door
$3
card.
fee will stop men from dressing in bear suits and vandalizing their vehicles for fake insurance claims.
Oh my gosh. Well, and
I like this lady though. Rocky Mountain Insurance.
Mountain Insurance Information Association.
Okay.
And you know what else contributes to high insurance costs in Colorado?
Californians.
Yeah, well, except for the Californians, especially the Californians in the wintertime, because they come here and then they're the people doing like 30 under the speed limit, crawling when the road is wet, and they have their hazard flashers on in the right lane. Like, dude, what are you doing? But car theft. Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Big state for car theft. We were number 1 for a while. I believe we got dethroned.
I think we're 2 or 3. Right?
Yeah, we're still way up there. We got dethroned as of this year, but for a long...
who took it? Florida. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out, so I assume Florida's going to take it because the game takes place in Florida, and they're like, hey, promo material.
Right.
Grand Theft Auto in Florida. It's gone up because Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out.
Oh, man. Who do we have in the number 1 slot here? Let's see if we can find that on the fly here.
You beep bop boop on that computer there. Type it up.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But, you know, the thing is, all right, let's see. It looks like California eclipsed us just by a little bit.
I would hope so. They have like 37 million people. They got 30 million more people than us. And we do worse than they do on a bunch of things? How?
Well, and knowing how high car theft is in this state, I mean, isn't it arguable that that would be more of a problem than the odd deer or the odd cyclist?
Start punishing car thieves more seriously and it might stop.
Yeah, exactly. And even though
I still have an S10 floating around that's stolen out there somewhere in Colorado. It's extra cab V6, the Vortec V6 with the little third door, extra cab blue. It's out there somewhere.
Okay. Well, it's like
it's been gone for like 10 years. I have no idea where it is.
Oh, man. And looks like also the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah. Imagine that.
They're pretty high on car theft, too.
Of crooked career politicians, and they have crooked crime going on all the time.
As far as Colorado goes,
3?
we're in the top 3. So, but for a while, we were number 1.
Aren't we like number 3 in crime, period, I think?
We're pretty high in that regard, too.
Number 3 best place to live and number 3 place in crime. I don't know how that maths.
Let me remind you, though, too, with this, that we also have... there's already a dollar fee, quote unquote, tax. There's already a dollar fee for other state enterprises that happen. Now, they're calling these state enterprises. So they're funding things like, what are they funding with this proposed $3 one? They're funding roads. They're funding alleged improvements. That's hard to see that that'll actually be an improvement. But isn't this the stuff that our taxes, the road taxes, are supposed to pay for?
Yeah, you don't need another funding thing for future stuff.
And they estimated this would contribute to somewhere $20 million annually. But unlike if you're...
You know, why don't they cut that much in the government waste stuff?
Yeah.
How about that? You want funding for something? Go save a nickel or two. Find a coupon.
Yeah.
Get away from me. I'm tired of all this. This place being so expensive. What are we, like 2% cheaper than California now?
Yep.
With less than the population of LA in the whole state? This is dumb. There's no other way to put it. It's dumb.
And we don't even get the like year-round nice weather that California has.
No. I mean,
we don't even get that benefit.
That's cool. We got a peak and some mountains here and there to look at, but
like California has car season year-round.
Yes.
We don't.
No, we have car season and 4-wheel drive season, snow season.
Yeah.
Bad weather season, hail season.
Exactly. Let me remind you, too, that they're proposing this as a fee. Again, it's not clear, but it's speculated this goes around TABOR, Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which is a thing in Colorado, not all states have it, where the people must vote on a tax increase. But by calling it a fee and putting it in the insurance here, you go around that. And guess what? We don't have to vote for it.
Yeah.
How does that work?
No, it's a gimmick. Anything from the government that's cost you more money is a tax, period. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Let's also mention, we're out of time here, but insurance as a whole, especially for car guys, we have like 6 cars registered and insured. It's already crazy expensive. Let's not add more to it. So, hey, you're listening to the Automotive ADHD Show. My guest is Jim Miller, just the guy. We will be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Gonna let the music bed run a bit. It's a Saturday. We're cruising. Got the top down. Here we go. All right. Hey, you are listening to the Automotive ADHD show. I'm your host, Matt West. And, you know, sometimes you just got to let the wind go through your hair. You got to put the top down on the convertible and just enjoy the drive. You know, that's what we're here for. Sometimes we enjoy driving. Whether you're a car guy, car gal, maybe you just have a car and you want to know a little bit more about it, or you just enjoy driving. This place is for you, the Automotive ADHD show. Remember to send your car sounds into my show, facebook.com/Automotive ADHD. We'll play them here on the air, and you can be a part of it on the Facebook page as well. See everyone's car sounds. It's turning into a whole community there, so you should check that out, facebook.com/Automotive ADHD. So, a couple of things I got to get to here. Jim Miller has left the building, probably because his car caught fire or something like that, and he had to leave, or one of his cars caught fire. I don't know. Hopefully none of Jim's cars are on fire. I actually don't want any of them to be on fire. But anyway, you're back with me now. You're back with me solo. We're hanging out talking cars, and this is something that I think is very, I would call this problematic. And it has to do with radar-guided cruise control. Now, my Subaru, by the way, my WRX, my 2024, has cruise control, and it's got the intelligent sort of, you know, it can follow cars. You can set the following distance. It'll actually even stay in the lane. It'll follow pretty surprisingly aggressive turns for not being a quote-unquote autonomous driving system. And I actually like it quite a bit. You know, I'm a little caveman with my cars. I'm a little too Stone Age for this. I'm just too much of a caveman, I should say, especially with my AE86 and the S2000. I'm like, I don't need any of this stuff. Actually, I should see if the cruise control works on the S2000 now that I have a K24 in it. I actually left it in. I just haven't tried it yet. So it should be the same. It's cable operated. But all of that being said, I was really surprised, pleasantly even, when I got my Subaru and the radar-guided cruise control system actually worked. And it worked well. And that, right, am I surprised that a feature works on a car? In many ways I am, because I distrust modern security features too are a pain. Freudian slip there. I was thinking of getting into my computer, which I was having issues with earlier. But I'm skeptical of modern technology. I really am. And this makes me, well, more skeptical, because what happened is, and I'm trying to pull up the video here, but, you know, technology, I'm doing the show right now and it doesn't want to pull up for me here so I can show you. So I will just tell you, and this comes by way of KPRC in Texas, a TV station. And KPRC did a story on a Texas man whose F-150 Lariat has adaptive cruise control, and it has automatic braking as well. As a result, typically these adaptive cruise control systems will slow your car down to a complete stop. You set your distance to the car in front of you, set the cruise control, and if that car speeds up, it'll speed up to the threshold you set. Say you set 75 miles an hour, and the car in front of you is doing 65. Well, if that car speeds up, your car will close the gap up to 75 miles an hour, the threshold you set. Likewise, if the car in front of you slows down, your car will come to a complete stop. It can actually engage the brakes. It's not just lifting on the throttle. It's engaging the brakes and doing that. And pretty much all of your modern cars are going to have this now. The emergency braking feature is also there and typically present when the cruise control is not on. If you're still on the throttle, traffic stops in front of you, and you don't slow down within a certain period of time, the car will slow down for you. Well, the problem is this gentleman who owns this F-150 Lariat, it's a 2024, it's basically brand new. His name is Ryan, and his F-150 likes to brake check people. Yeah, which probably makes people think he's a great driver. He's the best driver, you know, just brake checking everybody. But that is his F-150's favorite pastime is to brake check people. And when it does that, it's pretty hazardous because it'll do it on the freeway and he can have nobody in front of him, not a soul in sight in front of him. And this truck, out of nowhere, will decide that there is an obstacle in front of him and that it must brake as quickly and as hard as possible, so much so that he says it'll even throw you out of your seat if you're not really paying attention. It'll throw you forward. So now, why is this happening? Good question, right? Well, we really don't know because apparently Ford doesn't have a fix for it yet. Now, granted, this is allegedly one of the only pickup trucks demonstrating this issue, though I'm sure, it made it into the media, which is why we're talking about it. And I'm sure if you browse the F-150 forums, you will probably find people who have similar problems. It's just not as widely discussed. And Ford, by the way, has now said that they will buy his truck back from him, but that they won't be able to actually replace it immediately. So another Ford on the horizon, can they just swap it out? Apparently, they're not going to be able just to swap it out for him. And I have problems with systems like this. And I know that I bought a car with this system. And people will be quick to point out in the comment section on the video of this on YouTube and wherever else the show is posted, which is in, well, everywhere that fine shows in this one are posted. People will be quick to point out that automatic braking systems statistically save lives. They, prevent all sorts of problems and, inattentive drivers. Well, here's the thing. We lived as a society for the past century without automated braking systems. We did. We absolutely did. Were people not paying attention? Has somebody been rear-ended? Yeah, it has happened. But the thing is, why is it such a big deal now? Why are people so hesitant to not have automatic braking systems? Well, because, again, the statistics say that they are a life-saving tool. And I've said before on the show that I think in general cases they can be helpful. But I also disagree with the need for them. We should not be in a world where people are so distracted that this is a need. If anything, we should be in a world where people are better drivers than they've ever been before because cars can stop quicker, turn quicker. They're easier to drive than they've ever been as well. And we have more information, accessibility to driving training material. Heck, you can learn how to drive in VR if you're like a 13-year-old and you don't have a car. Now, granted, it's not the real thing, but driving simulators and video games are getting really close enough now that I could argue that at least some basic fundamentals of paying attention to your following distance, understanding what the car does when you brake hard, all of these things, you can learn these things even if you don't have a car at this point, right? We have this technology, and yet people suck at driving more than ever. And it's because of, well, this thing. If you're watching on radio, because that's how that works, I'm holding up my cell phone. It's because of that. And it's because of the infotainment systems in the cars. It's because of those. My Subaru has a giant tablet in the center stack. And I've said before, I don't like it. Frankly, I don't. Now, I also don't like the fact that the climate control is bundled into it, especially because if you're driving on Woodman, especially near Academy here in Colorado Springs, it is a third world road. There are roads better paved and smoother than that in Uganda, okay? And that road is, abysmal. And you're trying to change the climate control. I want to change the positioning of the air, and you're being jostled around and your fingers bouncing around on the screen, and then you hit something and you hit the self-destruct button and the whole car explodes, right? So maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but you get my point. And it's because of those screens, it's because of the phones, it's because of all of these distractions that we need these automated braking systems. And because we quote unquote need these systems, they exist. And because they exist and because they're an extra complication, guess what? It's something additional to brake. The guys, the old heads out there who go, oh, I don't like new cars. It's just more stuff to brake. And you know what? The industry kind of laughs at them nowadays and says, oh yeah, you're just ignorant of technology, but they're not wrong. And this goes to prove it. The systems can fail. They can be a problem. And I think we'd be better off without them. So anyway, hey, thanks for listening to the Automotive ADHD show. Remember to catch this every weekend on the radio, as well as online where fine shows and mine are downloaded. I'll catch you next week right here.